History is incredible, and even in an endless effort to absorb it all, new history is being written every single day. In the silver and gold mines of Nevada in the late 1800s, millionaires were created one day and lost the very next. But through the brutality of summer and the futility of winter, they persevered. And this is the heart of the American spirit. But for me, it isn't enough to just read about it in some textbook. I need to get out there and relive it for myself. So I grabbed that textbook, loaded up the Jeep, and went searching for the American frontier. This trip was definitely not without its challenges. From unexpected summer storms to washed out roads making routes totally impassable. It's a funny thing though about adversity. It makes reaching the destination all that much greater.
Hey guys, welcome to Rhino Off-Road. So here's the deal. I got this book about a week ago. It's called Nevada Ghost Towns and Mining Camps by a gentleman named Stephen Paher. He wrote this back in the 1970s, so it's over 50 years old at this point. But what's really cool about it is, aside from having a bunch of photos and history of almost all the gold mines and silver mines that existed around this area in the 1800s, it has a map. Most of the time when I go out and try to find an old gold mine, I'm using Gaia GPS and all these tools, but not this trip. This trip, I'm gonna use the map that's in the front of this book, and I'm gonna see if I can still find some of these old roads and get to a ghost town or two myself to be able to experience the American spirit and the American adventure firsthand. Okay, so Highway 50 is right here, Fairview is right here, and then you can see Wonder is marked on the map at this location. Now we are about halfway, from what I can tell, up this dirt road. Now, since I'm already pretty close to what's marked as Victor, I'm gonna see if it's possible to basically take a road from where Victor is and get into Wonder, it looks like there's a little town called Hercules as well. If that doesn't work, we'll have to go back down this road, take this turn off and see if I can find it, and then head up from the south. But we're gonna try the northern entrance first, and then we will go from there. So let's hop in the Jeep and get started. Okay, so as we're driving here, a little bit of history about the town of Wonder. So, in 1906, some prospectors from the town of Fairview, it was in that big mountain peak behind us, walked past Chalk Mountain and basically went up this wash in the Clown Alpine Range. And what they found was massive veins of quartz. They assayed it, figured out that it's very valuable, and literally within a month, hundreds of people moved to the town of Wonder in order to, get a piece of the pie, so to speak. So this company moved in, built this massive cyanide plant, which there's actually photos of in the book. And a cyanide plant, if you guys don't know, yes, cyanide is a poison, but it is also can be used to, as I understand it, bond with gold ore and help make it easier to extract out of other minerals. Over the course of this mine's existence, which was at its heyday really about 10 to 15 years, it returned almost $2 million just to the stakeholders alone in this company, which for 1910 dollars is a ton. What I think is even more fascinating though is that at this town's height, I mean, there were saloons, there were ballrooms and dance halls. There's actually a photo in the book of a community dance they had, which again, like that kind of thing just fascinates me. There were real estate companies who came in and it's at one point sold lots for as high as $8,000, which again, early $1,900 is a ton. It only lasted, from what I can tell, for about 15 to 20 years, and at some point the mine dried up and people just kind of moved on. The book really doesn't mention what the status of the mine is today, and all the photos are historical photos from the late 1800s, early 1900s. So to be honest, I'm not totally sure what's left. I'm really excited to see what we find. Again, this kind of history just fascinates me, and there's also, just the sense of adventure that you get by being able to take your Jeep out, go somewhere, and really relive this history for ourselves.
Man, that's cool. So I just started heading up the trail and I had to stop because the cell actually moved almost right on top of us. See, out to the west, it's actually pretty sunny, but over here, the cell is continually moving towards us. And I'm a little curious how the roads are gonna get. And I'm not sure if you can hear that, but the thunder is hitting pretty good too. So, tell you what. Okay, so it actually looks like the storm might be kind of passing us by just to the south, which is, I guess, good. Dixie Valley's down there, so I definitely went a little too far. I ran up basically towards this canyon. There's a river flowing right here, and there's this sign here that says "Keep Gate Closed," and I assume it's for wildlife or you know, people with grazing rights and things, but trying to figure out how to actually get this gate open is a little bit of a challenge. But instead of driving my Jeep up, I might just kind of quickly hop over and take a look. Actually, I might even just go underneath, to be honest. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll take a walk up here and see if there's anything interesting. The mine is somewhere, I think, over those hills, because I went up Dixie Valley about 15 miles to see if I could access it from the north side, and to be honest, I'm not super confident that I can. Shoot, it almost looks like this was the road, and then at some point the water got redirected, because there's definitely, let's see, oh yeah. So there certainly used to be a road here. I don't see any tire tracks, which I guess doesn't mean much. I mean, it takes one winter to wash all those away. The road's a lot more clear than it was, and it splits off, it looks like, into two. Again, we're kind of looking east here, south, which the mine is that way. I'm just curious if any of these roads have a logical way to get over there. If you look over here, I mean, this is nuts. You can see where the water has cut this canyon. So I'll tell you what, even if one of these roads did go south, as confident as I am in my Jeep, she ain't getting up that. So the road used to come right through here, but you can see massive amounts of water has just totally washed this away. Yeah, and it continues over there. I think my plan is gonna be to head back down the hill here. We'll hop in the Jeep and then see if we can enter Wonder from that southern road that was depicted on the map. All right, so I headed down the hill only like a quarter of a mile, and I happened to see a turnoff called Horse Creek Camp. So I drove up a little bit and check this out. Navy bought the Dixie Valley area, and I think for a while used it as a bombing range. They definitely don't anymore, but I'm not quite sure what this is. Got like an old artillery piece of some kind. It's an old car here. I don't know what this would have been. Actually, maybe a little Jeep or something. Sold some drum brakes. Man, I should pull some spare parts for my car. So this is definitely something military. It's serial number BUDD serial number 18932.
As a quick aside, I googled the serial number during editing and found out that it's a 1960s Ford M151A2, essentially a quarter-ton 4x4. Kind of like a Jeep, less capable. Anyways, back to the show.
No smoking while driving. Well, it sure sounds like the military. Way to ruin all the fun. Let's climb in this. Not much in there, just some old camo bags and stuff. Shell casings to either 5.56 or 223. Manufactured 10 of 67. So I bet you shortly after they bought the land, they went and built this. It's an old foundation here for something. All right, well, I don't want to burn any more daylight, so we're gonna head back downhill, but pretty cool find. Okay, so I was just driving back down the hill and I noticed that what I actually thought was just a closed off fence as I was driving up is actually a gate that it was just basically handmade so that you could keep wildlife, you know, fenced into this part of the land. But I already walked up the hill here and this road leads up into those mountains, which is where I need to go to get to the town of Wonder. There is a nice little watering hole blocking the road. So I think I'm gonna just drive across it, put it in 4-wheel low. I have my traction boards if I need it, and then get myself up on the trail because again, I thought that I wasn't gonna be able to access it all from the north, but this road is looking like it heads right up into those hills. So this could be pretty promising. I'm gonna move this fence out of the way and then we're going to cross that pond and get back on the trail.
Blackbird on a limb, both of them diving in deeper than they've been before. So baby, meet me down by the Roanoke River where the cool dark water meets the full moonlight. If we can sneak away, maybe we could be together. Candle by stop love tonight. Didn't know they'd been followed down through the hollow till a hand grabbed her by the arm. Blood's thicker than water, but even his father ain't never gonna do her no harm. And whiskey on his breath, they were scared.
I was cruising along, then hit a place here where the road is washed out. So I can probably get down here. The problem is I need to be able to get back up on that road. All right, guys, so I went up about another mile and check this out. This is so cool. Oh wow, what's that? Well, that is an old shaft for sure. Wow. There must have been some kind of heater or something there. There's a hole that went through the wall. Clearly this place has seen some better days, but man, these tables must be 120 years old. Here's another shack here. Climb myself up the hill. Okay, so really good start. Took me all day to get here. To be honest, looking at the land though, because there's some old black and white photos, and we'll get more into that later in the Ghost Town book, but it shows just a massive wide open valley. And don't get me wrong, this is pretty open, but I don't think this is quite it. There were a couple towns just north of Wonder, Victor and Hercules maybe. So it's possible that this is one of those. What I think I'm gonna do, I have maybe less than an hour of sunlight. I'm gonna keep driving up this road for maybe like 5 more minutes, and if I don't really see anything else that's promising, I'll probably come back. I'll honestly just park my Jeep right here and probably set up camp here for the night, just because it's getting dark and I don't think I'm gonna make too much more progress. But I'll let you guys know what I find. Otherwise, I'll see you at camp. Well, in case you're curious what heart rate looks like, for me tonight, it looks like a 6-foot washout in the road. If I could just hop up this, I think I would be up into the valley. There must have been so much water that came down here. Because look at that drop off up there. And that's gotta be a 10-foot wall. And I wonder if all the water kind of got dammed up behind there, and the only place it had to go was through here. Oh, man, so close. To make matters worse, that mountain peak right back there, I think I saw in one of the pictures. So I can only be about 3 or 4 miles away. Oh man. There must have been standing water here, and then at some point it rose up, and the only place for it to go was right here. Man. Well, now I've got to figure out what I'm gonna do, because I could go back there and set up camp. I'm pretty confident that that is the town of Hercules, and again, once we're sitting around the campfire, I can talk more about those. But I mean, I could walk tomorrow, but I think quite a ways up that little ridge, and I don't really want to be without all my supplies, so probably not going to do that. I'm looking for any other place that possibly could climb up, but I just don't see it. Hey guys, so I climbed up into the tent, and kind of unlike me, but I actually decided to skip dinner, mostly because I'm exhausted. But also I just didn't feel like going through the effort. Got to camp a lot later than I thought, because I thought I was going to be able to make it up to where I think the town of Wonder is, but man, we were this close. But that washout of the road there is definitely a showstopper, unfortunately. So, I mean, I have to be within probably 3 miles, but I think my best recourse is probably to go back down the hill tomorrow and try from the south side. I mean, I could definitely walk in from where I'm at, and depending on how accessible the south road is, I may have to do that. But in the meantime, you know, I'm out here again by myself, so I don't really want to push anything too crazy. So I think for tomorrow, I might explore this mine just a little bit and look through some of these old buildings and things. I'm pretty convinced that where we're at right now is the town of Hercules. So if you look at the map here that's at the front of this book, it shows that basically Hercules and Wonder are only about 2 miles apart. And I actually flipped to the book here. I was going to read a little section for you guys about what it said about Hercules, because it's kind of fascinating. Hercules, 2 miles north of Wonder.
The Silver Camp existed as an adjunct of Wonder during 1906 to 1907 period, and the accepted mining camp enterprises were on hand, including the Weekly Miner, as well as a post office beginning in December of 1906. The camp's largest structure was the wood-framed St. Francis Hotel, which burned to the ground in the spring of 1907. St. Francis Hotel, and this is an advertisement from 1907, excellent rooms, cuisine unexcelled, headquarters for mining men in Wonder District, local and long-distance phone, wire for reservations, accommodations for 150. J. Francis Smith, proprietor. Nevada State Journal, March 17, 1907. The post office officially closed in October of 1908, indicating that the camp went poof earlier that year. But anyways, really fascinating stuff. It's actually almost a little cold out, which is phenomenal, to be honest. It means I'm going to sleep great. The Chromotop sleeping mattresses that I'm sitting on right now have been holding up really well. I still have my Kelty sleeping bag here, so it's going to be really comfortable. I installed these lights behind me on the tent just a couple months ago, and so finally don't have to actually carry a light up here, which has been kind of a pain, to be honest. But anyways, guys, I think I'm going to eat my adult Lunchables here, which is going to be dinner for tonight, and get some sleep, try to wake up early so we can get an early start on the day. We got a lot to see and a lot to do, so we're going to have to make up a lot of ground. But thanks for coming along, guys. I hope you enjoy this. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Alright guys, good morning. I've already got the tent packed up, had a little snack for breakfast. I really wanted to go inside the mine here, but don't really want to have to climb over all the probably mouse poop or something that's on those rails. And yeah, I don't know, it looks kind of cool back there, but that's alright, we'll let this one go. I think this little shack over here, after looking at it for a little bit longer, was probably maybe one of the buildings where they either just did some assaying or whatnot. They have like some mesh material on these tables basically all around them, so it looks like maybe in these little channels down here, maybe with some water, you know, some of the ore they would run through and just try to like lightly sift it. From last night, it sounded like this was actually a silver mine, not a gold mine, so I'm not sure how different the process is there, but clearly I am not the first visitor. It's kind of too bad people do that. It's definitely older. It's kind of hard to say exactly how old this is, but I mean, this site was found in 1906, 1907, so presumably around that, which means, and don't get me wrong, this building certainly wouldn't be a quick flip for a real estate sale, but it's actually in pretty good shape considering that it's been around that long. You know, the fact that it's still standing even. Down here, this is interesting. This is it's like a mesh, metal mesh on the sides, an opening on the top, and this looks like a big old oil can or something. I think there was another shaft right here. There's a lot of tailings, and then you can see these big timber frames right here that obviously once held something up. So probably down there somewhere is an old mine shaft. Real bummer that we got this close to Wonder and can't quite make it up, but you know, that happens sometimes, so it is what it is. But yeah, I'd say it's time we hit the road.
All right, so while I can't be totally confident that this is the right road off of Highway 50, there's a couple things that lead me to believe that it is. The first one being Fairview Peak is pretty being prominent, and it's that right there. And over the course of 150 years, I don't think it's moved too much. So I know that based on the map, this road should be basically due north of it. This is the only dirt road that I could find that matches that description. So that's reason one. Reason two is in the book, it talks about how the gentleman who found Wonder left Fairview and then proceeded northeast past Chalk Mountain, which that looks a whole lot like a chalk mountain, up into basically a wash. And if you can see way off in the distance there actually is a road which kind of heads up towards the Clown Alpine Range, which also, based on the book, I know is where the Wonder Mine is. So what I think I'm going to do is stick to this road. We'll head up there into the wash and just kind of see what we can find. Well, shoot, this is gonna be a problem. I am all for getting some pinstripes when necessary, but I cannot physically fit, I don't think, down this section of the road. You know, it's possible that I went down the wash accidentally instead of the road itself, but you know, this road is not very well traveled, so it's kind of hard to tell. There's a little bit of an exit right here I could try. I'm not really sure where this goes though. Oh, would you look at that? Sweet, well, I'm not quite sure how I missed it, but that's some good news. I mean, you can barely see my Jeep down there. We've already climbed quite a bit. Fairview Peak is way off in the distance there. We're probably about halfway up what I would say Fairview Peak. The wind is howling through here. But yeah, we'll just hop up the wash here and hop onto the road. Guys, I think this is it. I recognize that from the picture. That hill right there, or knob if you want to call it, looks like it's been basically totally mined out. In fact, I can see some old structures from here. And where we are standing, I think is the location of the old town. It's about 6:15. I have 2 hours of useful sunlight left, and I don't want to be finding camp right at dark. So yeah, we're gonna hop back in the Jeep. We'll head up the mountain there, see if we can find a cool place to camp, and then we'll go from there and see how much time we have left. So I made one of my favorite camp meals to make, just because it's so quick. Essentially fried up some shrimp and some pre-seasoned steak and made fajitas. So here I bought basically some spring salad mix. We have some cilantro, some onion, Tillamook cheddar, a little bit of sour cream, some tortillas, and we're just gonna make some fajitas. I bought this tactical fire pit that I'm about to light up here at Overland Expo, and it's been one of my favorite things that I've gotten recently. It was actually pretty cheap. I think it was like 90 bucks. Like, I don't know, I guess for a small ammo can, you could argue whether that's cheap or not, but we're in a fire ban currently. However, gas stoves and things are allowed, but it's a lifesaver because otherwise I wouldn't be able to make a fire out here. So I'm gonna kind of dish this up real quick and then get the fire cranking. Surprisingly, it's almost cold out here. It's like low 60s. The temperature dropped probably 30 degrees within maybe an hour and a half. So super comfortable. I'm really excited to sleep in this tonight. Coffee. That's how you have to start your day. Well, just as soon as I had almost forgotten that it was the middle of summer in the desert, the sun finally came up high enough to hit this area, and the temperature rose probably like 30 or 40 degrees. So it's almost probably 80 already. I decided to forego breakfast, put everything away, got the rooftop tent closed. By the way, if you guys are new to the rooftop tent game, highly recommend you get in the habit of closing the tent as one of your first things you do in the morning, at least in the summer months, because it is miserable trying to close it when you're just getting beat down by the sun. So I would like to get an early start on the day here. It's only about 7 a.m. So Jeep's all packed up. We're gonna start up, head down the hill, and I will see you guys in the town of Wonder. Here's a panorama photo of Wonder from 1911. You can see there's a road that runs south to north here, which aligns perfectly with this road. And then there's several, what looks like, I know there was a community center or like a dance hall or something, so possibly this, some stores, things like that. And there's kind of a wide open clearing here. You have this ridge here, a second ridge here, and then this mountain has basically what looks like kind of three fingers coming off of it. So here we have one ridge, there's two ridge, and then this mountain here, you can see there's three kind of fingers coming down. So I definitely think where I'm standing right now is where the original town was. I'm gonna grab the GoPro and we can take a look around. Oh, this is actually a piece of metal. Says Aulic, maybe hydraulic. Oh, here we go. Victaulic, number 26, 4x4x2, 89K. No idea how old this is. So one of the things that I think is a little strange, all of this rock here is clearly from, you know, it's tailings. It's all the excess from the mine. And again, I don't know how on my camera here how easy this is to pick up, but if you look down there, you don't have any of this rock. You know, even if you look up on the mountainsides here, you don't have a bunch of loose gravel like this. And additionally, in the historical photo, you do not see really a hill where these buildings were. There's like this perfect hill built up, and we're on top of one here, right? Because you can see the elevation drops down below. So I am wondering, and again, I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. I'm wondering if at some point, either there was a mine here and this is all tailings, or this just got moved over here, but the original foundations of these buildings got covered up by all this rock. However, unfortunate for the town, but I can already see some structures left up on the hill of Wonder, which is where the mine was. And I can already see that it was a huge operation because literally like half the side of the mountain is gone.
I got back in the Jeep and started to drive up the mountain to head towards the mine, but I kept spotting relics appearing like headstones out of the sagebrush, so I made several stops along the way.
Big old stake right here. Nothing marked on it. We got some old cans. It's like it was open, kind of on those two sides. It's definitely an older style. Let's see what we got here. Certainly marked out. Oh, we gotta get a big hole in the ground. Oh yeah, you look down there, you can see some old timber. So this was certainly a shaft at some point that collapsed in on itself. Oil can or something. Someone's been shooting some 22 into. An interesting colored dirt. It's almost like reddish or purple. Oh man, yeah, there's another one. Oh wow, check this out. I didn't even see this. Kind of an old foundation here. And another one right here. This is definitely older. You can see they used concrete and probably some of the mineral, or some of the rock rather, that they had around here and built these stanchions. And here's one right here. And then here's this foundation up here. And they had all these through bolts set into the concrete. So whatever was here was probably a decent size. Clearly something that was built right into that mine shaft. And check this out. If you look up at Wonder Mountain now, you can see just how much of the side of that mountain has been excavated. I'm really excited to get up there. Oh, guys, check this out. This is an old piece of pottery of some kind. Some writing on it. Oh, it says Edison. Some kind of old bulb holder, or what do you guys think? Feels like porcelain, to be honest. Got a bunch of old bricks. A lot of trash here too. I don't know what a-hole would have felt that they need to leave all this stuff, but these old cans. Check out these bricks. NOI. Oh, this is cool. Here's an old bottle. Guys, just walking around, I have such an appreciation for what it must have been like to have to work in the mines here in the summer. Honestly, underground's probably the most comfortable place to be because it is freaking hot. And to just constantly be exerting yourself up here. And for perspective, you know, we're up at probably about 6,000 feet or so, and there's no water here. They had to, I think I read, they had to bring in water from over 10 miles away, which is kind of funny because we found water yesterday at Horse Creek Camp. It's probably only about 3 miles as a crow flies that way, but there's probably some other extenuating circumstances that maybe made that not feasible. We're walking back towards the Jeep. I really don't want to waste too much more time before we get up to the mine because I know there's going to be a lot of cool stuff to explore up there. And as I was driving, I saw what looked like a foundation. And when I look at the old photo here, there's this little tiny house that is basically at the, you know, right at the base of this hill. Well, that hill is right here. And I think the foundation for whatever this little house or hut was right here. We walk around, you can see all this rock built out here. No idea what it was. Was it someone's house? Some kind of support building for the mine? It's pretty cool how intact this really is. I mean, to be honest, almost none of it's really fallen down. Let's walk up here and see what we can find. That is a piece of a plate, some kind of plate or dinnerware or something. Another kind of tin right here. An oil can of some kind. So here's a can, and you can see it was a pull top. It says, dispose of properly. Well, I don't think this is quite what they had in mind. Please do not litter. Got no telling what it is. Do you guys know off the top of your head when they started making pull tops like this? I want to say this is actually more recent than you'd think, maybe like the 60s or 70s. Got some clay. Colored glass, almost like a purple color. Oh wow, check this out. This is a bowl of some kind. It's really well intact. All right, well, I see some old buildings and structures up there, so we're gonna head up the hill. I thought this was kind of neat. Little outhouse. It says Haas 1018 Sisters. Well, I don't think I can say that, but you guys can read it at least. Wonder, Nevada. Unfortunately, this thing's seen better days. I don't know if you guys saw on the drone, but there was a massive hole in the ground. Thankfully, it's fenced off, and I wouldn't want to go anywhere near it. It's got to be at least a couple 100 feet straight down. So I imagine there was probably a structure built around it or above it, and they somehow tunneled or whatnot to actually get in there. So this is the cyanide plant. It was right here. This is kind of cool. So the book says, to run this 200-ton cyanide plant, electric power was brought from Bishop, California, which, if you guys don't know, Bishop from here has got to be at least 200 miles. It says the transition line was said to have been the nation's largest at the time. Piped water came from Dead Horse Creek over 10 miles away. And we are standing where the cyanide plant would have been. Now, cyanide, again, was used to separate the gold from other parts of the ore. Now, I'm not a physicist. Well, I'm not even a scientist because that's actually chemistry. So I'm not a chemist. So I don't really understand any more than that, other than the fact that I think any cyanide that's left around here has long passed its half-life. But the amount of structure here is awesome. So check this out. This is some kind of old like vault. Really not much to see in here. A bunch of what I imagine is bat poop. Oh yeah, they've definitely been sleeping in here at some point. Yeah, this had to have been part of the base structure. And you see, it just kind of keeps going up. Walk up the hill here a little bit. And hopefully I can do something editing wise after the fact, but try to marry up where I'm standing with that old photo to see if I can kind of get an idea of exactly what the layout of this building was.
All right, guys, a little break in the action here. I actually went and pulled up Google Earth as well as one of the historical photos of the plant and thought I'd overlay them and see what we can find. So let's check it out. All right, we'll begin by looking at the historical photo. So here we have the Mountain of Wonder with the plant located right in the middle. We have this primary road that essentially runs northwest up the mountainside, where it then doglegs right at this 45-degree bend, right about halfway up the plant. We can use Google Earth here to help us in order to orient ourselves to what we're looking at. So as we zoom in here, we see the remnants of the plant located where my mouse is, and then this dogleg right that we just talked about in the photo. And then additionally, right before that dogleg, there's this little side road that cuts out to the south. And if we zoom in, we can see this little box. Well, spoiler alert, this box that I'm looking at in the video is the same one as we can see in Google Earth. And then once we go to our photo, we zoom in here, we look at this black, I don't know what it is, window or door. We essentially can tell with the cutout on the road here that that vault was right inside that door. Now, what I think is so amazing about Google Earth, especially being able to zoom in and change our perspective, is what we're still able to see is left. We'll see this later in the video, but there's 4 of these octagonal shaped structures that are still very apparent when you're on the ground, and obviously very apparent when you're in space. By zooming out here in Google Earth, you can really see how much of this mountain was changed over time. All right, enough of that. Let's get back to the video.
Look at this, guys. I hiked up most of the mountain, and look, I mean, how much of this mountain is just gone? You can see there's a big shaft way down there, and out there is where we just were yesterday, Dixie Valley. In fact, the thunderstorm came right over that peak there. Whoa, yeah, check that out. Certainly collapsed in, but you can see there's a timber frame right up there, and at some point, this was probably an entire walkway. You can see there's timbers going across the entire area there. Let's walk around to the other side. This is looking from the other side, so you can see those timber frames a little better. And there's a second pit over here. Whew. You don't want to fall in there. This one looks totally collapsed, but you can see my Jeep way down there. I mean, we're a ways up. So in the photos, the power line that actually powered this plant came right up through here. And again, just for a sense of scale, this is 1910 we're talking about. This is 110 years ago now, and they were able to run power for hundreds of miles. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, to be honest, that people could build such things when they were still, for the most part, getting around on wagon and cart. Corrugated metal here, probably a roof of some kind. But yeah, actually, and I think that right there is probably part of what was the roof of kind of that little side building to the plant. I'm sure the winters were probably unbearable, but honestly, even right now, it's cooled down a ton. I mean, we're being up at 6,000 feet. It's probably the mid 80s. So you're up at altitude, that makes working up here harder, but you can adjust to that. Heat's a pretty hard thing to really acclimate to, but it is certainly more comfortable here than it was in like Dixie Valley, which is probably 2,000 to 3,000 feet below us at this point. You look right here, you can see that's basically the uppermost part of the foundation of the cyanide plant. And this road, this probably wasn't here, but you can see a bunch of pipes right here, which I'm sure were water. And from the photos, I gather a whole lot of this mine we really can't see because a lot of it was operated underground. You can almost see like a line of where the foundation was, or it's certainly not a water line, but it basically goes right in line with where that pipe was. All right, I'm gonna attempt to hike back to the Jeep through the cyanide plant, and hopefully we don't fall down the side of this mountain. Siding here. I mean, just look how big these stanchions are. And it's cool too, because you can see that they used what they had, right? So they had concrete, and they used rock that they'd probably pulled out of the mine in order to reinforce it. You can see these massive, big old structure here with a bunch of pipes. Oh, actually, you know what? Those are through bolts, and you can see they have big old massive bolts on the bottom. Whew. All right, we'll cut down here. See, there's something weighed a lot here. They had all these bolts set all the way around into the concrete. It kind of makes you wonder where all this timber came from. There's not much around here. So my guess is that it probably honestly came from the Eastern Sierra. I mean, if they drove power lines all the way back to Bishop, I'm sure that, you know, they took these timbers probably from the Sierra as well. Really cool though. I mean, you can see how they notched this. All the old bolts were square, and you can see were pounded by a hammer at some point. It's gonna be tough to get a wrench on that bad boy. It's all right, I do that all the time to mine. You also see two different styles. So this actually looks a lot more traditionally like what we have for bolts. And then you see one like this that's squared off. There's a lot of this glass too, and I'm sure this glass is all original from one of the windows or something. This is interesting. This, well, it's either cyanide, which I hope not, or this is maybe one of the areas where they ran all the water through. So there's probably just a thick amount of just dirt, you know, runoff and all the excess from the processing. All right, now these are pretty fascinating. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 octagonal shaped. Is that the right word? 8 octagonal? Yeah, we'll go with that. Octagonal shaped foundations. There's 4 of them. Each of them had a big kind of anchor in the middle. And these two are full. So I don't know if there was something like some processing that occurred inside of these. I don't know what this is, some kind of big funnel. Maybe this is kind of where all the ore trickled down, or maybe that was some of the cyanide storage they used. Either way, I don't plan on touching it to find out. Wow. Some of these still have ore in them. Do have a tetanus shot, but I probably shouldn't test its effectiveness. Oh man, guys, this was so much fun. This is the culmination of a couple-day trip. And while I am disappointed that, you know, I wasn't able to find any of the remains of the town, the gold mine will probably be here for hundreds and hundreds of years. Well, the sun is setting behind the hill here, so I think it is time that I head back down the mountain. Thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. I love adventures like this, especially ones where I don't maybe rely on technology as much, but you know, literally just following a map on a book and trying to train associate, and you're able to find really awesome places like this. I can't wait to bring you guys on the next one. I'm Kevin with Rhino Off Road, and we'll see you in the next video.